Good morning. If I was to start with a cliche and tell you that to be successful, you need only talent. Ooh, it works. I'd remind you that successful people do it alone. I'd also mention, casually, maybe, that to be successful, you get one shot at it. If I started with a quote, I'd tell you that to be successful, you have to believe. But I won't start with either cliches or quotes. I'll start from the start. See, no one talk can change your life. It can, however, provide you with a different perspective. It can enable you to use everything you have today to be the success you want to be tomorrow. And that's what we're going to do here. Now, maxims exist because we like to make sense of this crazy random world out there. We use them to distill and contain centuries of wisdom into a simple format. Sometimes they help, sometimes they don't. Apparently it's a thing, I have no idea. Success is one such topic where no quote, cliche, or maxim can fully contain what it takes to be successful. To talk about success, we have to start from what does it mean, what does it take, and then what does it entail. And I'll tell you why. While success has become the defining factor of our generation and the yardstick by which we measure everything else, we know very little about it. We know that for society, and by that extension for us, success means money, fame, or both. We know that it has different effects on different people, it means different things for different people, but we don't know how exactly someone gets successful. Psychologists world over are tackling what it takes to be successful. What people know is limited to, online popular articles and a lot of personal beliefs. What science knows is hidden in a cloud of myths and a lot of scientific jargon. So today, let's begin by breaking down those barriers between what people think, what science knows, and start with three of the most pervasive cliches of success. The first one, you either have talent or you don't. We are used to this idea that people are just born smart. That some people were born dancers and others were just born engineers or scientists. But repeatedly, research is showing us that success is a combination of deliberate practice, of grit, and a little bit of talent. Deliberate practice is this idea where it's conscious, careful, repetitive practice where you take apart everything you're doing, revisit every incorrect move, and then correct it. Grit. Grit is this idea or the ability to push yourself. Grit is passion and perseverance. Grit is the habit of not giving up. It's the habit where you take on a task and you complete it. One of my favorite studies on grit actually was done at the United States Military Academy, an exclusive military training school where they go through a rigorous environment. Researchers wanted to see the factors that help retain students in that kind of an environment. Enrolled students are high achieving, have high GPAs, have high SAT scores, they've been leaders, they've been student presidents, they've been debaters. So they all have a similar talent pool, or they all have a similar profile. What the researchers found was that the main defining factor that distinguished those who stayed through the entire course and those who didn't was grit, not just talent. Repeatedly, different lines of research are showing us that what we assume to be innate, inherent talent is actually a culmination of years and years of hard work. Think of Vinod Kamble and Sachin Tendulkar. When they both began, Kamble was known to be more talented. But towards the end of it, Sachin Tendulkar did way better. And this brings us to a second cliche. You do it alone. The short version of this, you don't. The long version, however, is that every successful person has or finds a support system. Jeff Bezos, A.R. Rahman, Satya Nadella, they all found and learned from a massive support system of parents, family, teachers, managers, professors, which, along with their hard work, of course, no shortcuts there, propelled them to greatness. Jeff Bezos, as a child, as a toddler, mind you, took apart a crib because he wanted to sleep in a grown-up bed. His mother got him the tools. Another time, apparently, he rigged an electric alarm to keep his siblings out of his room. I cannot do that in my house. I don't know about you. But the point is, that kind of entrepreneurship and that kind of creativity is what led to Amazon. Let's talk about A.R. Rahman. His first coach was his father, who was a film score composer. Then he learned from Master Dhanraj, then M.K. Arjunan, went to play alongside L. Shankar and Zakir Hussain. Today, he has, I think, a Grammy, a BAFTA, 2 Golden Globes, a Padma Bhushan, among so many others. Finally, Satya Nadella. He was a graduate. He was actually, let's begin from the family. He's the son of an officer in the elite Indian Administrative Services. He then came to this very university, one of the premier universities in India, before going to the US for his master's. Think of the kind of exposure and the opportunity and the learning that he got. He eventually became the CEO of Microsoft. Sometimes, even our furry friends need help. The bottom line is, you don't do it alone. The third cliche, you get one shot at success. Today, everyone has heard of J.K. Rowling, yes? Okay, great, so have I. Her books have changed the way we view magic. They've sold more than 400 million copies. They've inspired theme parks. Who does that? But if you're familiar with her story, you know that when she wrote, I think, the first manuscript, 12 different publishing houses rejected the manuscript. Can you begin to think what it feels like when you put your heart and soul into something and 12 different people tell you that it isn't any good? When a publishing house did take a hesitant chance, Harry Potter went on to become a legend. J.K. Rowling had to take 13 shots at being successful. Success doesn't come overnight. It doesn't come in one go. Oprah Winfrey, Henry Ford, Steven Spielberg, Abraham Lincoln, the list is actually virtually endless. Maybe one shot propels you to greatness, but it takes multiple winning shots to get to that one shot. See, all our lives, up until now at least, success has been verifiable. Mark sheets and trophies, they have been our only idea of success. We've learned that if you're successful, you have to have something to show for it. But as you grow older, as I definitely did, wiser, as I am yet to, you see that success becomes extremely personal. That your goals in life become a reflection of what you want to do, not what you can or cannot do. Wanting to be an engineer or a doctor, I don't know why you would, but wanting to be an engineer or a doctor has nothing to do with not being able to be an artist or a psychologist. It means you just want to be a doctor or an engineer. When we liberate ourselves from other people's idea of success and choose our own goals, one amazing thing happens. We realize that we have the power to pick where we stop. Will being a teacher mean you're successful? Will being a principal mean you're successful? Will it be a nanoscientist or a mechanical engineer or a doctor? You get to pick where your success lies. Sometimes, however, success can get caught up in the abstracts. Believe in yourself. That's a quote we've all heard of. But it's a process we are never taught. How do you believe in yourself? Believing in yourself will be one of the toughest things you do in your life. After third year engineering, of course. But unlike your third year in engineering, believing in yourself doesn't come with a set number of subjects or a universal solution set. You have to do it alone. How? I'll tell you, but I'll take a slight detour. Harvard professors wanted to do a study to see the impact of body language on confidence. They recruited some students. Some of them did high-power poses, some of them did low-power poses before they went into a grueling mock interview. High-power poses are associated with success, where chin up, you're standing tall, you're very proud. Low-power poses are associated with failure, or losses where you kind of make yourself smaller, you're embarrassed, you look down. What they found was students who had done high power poses fared way better in the interviews than those who had done low power poses. What they then found was that students who had done the high power poses were perceived as more confident. They fared better in the interviews. Their stress levels were lesser. And the best part, those students felt more confident. Now, getting back to how do you believe in yourself a little more? Confidence is nothing but belief. I'm going to let that sink in. Because when you know how to be more confident, you can believe in your goals and run for them. Believe in them, run for them, and fight for them. Now, at this stage, we know three things. We have to move beyond conventional knowledge. We know that we have to believe in ourselves. And we also know that we get to decide our goals. Now, to make sense of all of this, any stage or where you are in life as a student, as a parent, as a teacher, as a professor, the last step is to make sense of it all. Because even though success as a concept is very abstract, its implications are very, very real. We choose our goals, sure, but we define their successes with broader societal guidelines. So how do you make sense of your successes or your losses? That is shaped by your narrative. Your narrative is your life story as you would tell it. It's that constant evaluation of emotions, circumstances, moods that you do on a daily basis with or without the Bollywood dancing, that's on you. That is your narrative. How you speak to yourself, what you say to yourself. And why is that important? Let's take a small example. Say you failed an exam. Sorry, parents. I hope I didn't let out any secrets. But say you failed an exam, and you come home, you're really upset, and you sit on your bed and you say, oh my God, I'm such a loser. Or you come home and say, oh, that was a disaster. Next time, gotta study this, gotta do A, B, C. The outcome is the same. You failed the exam. But the reason you attach with it, that has mind-boggling implications. If you tell yourself, oh, I'm such a loser, how do you become something as abstract as a winner by the next exam? You probably don't. But when you give yourself guidelines, or you give yourself steps, when you're true with yourself, when you're harsh when needed or kind when needed, you form a little map. So the next exam, you do better. You may not top, but you don't fail. And that goes for everything in life, or most things. Relationships, academics, co-curriculars. Many times, we're really, really embarrassed of our failures. In fact, research shows that people are more likely to remember negative life events than positive life events. That can also be extended to say that we are more likely to stress on our failures than our successes. So much so that when a Princeton professor put up his resume of failures, the internet went berserk. And his meta failures added later was this. This darn CV of failures has received way more attention than my entire body of academic work. What we take away from this is your narrative has to be told the right way. No excuses, no shortcuts. And when you do that, one thing happens. Oh, not that. That. Success becomes inevitable. Why? With every failure, you learn one thing you shouldn't do. With every busted cliche, you learn another way of life. And when you believe, when you're confident, your success, you start living it. And if you take away anything from this talk at, well, 9:45 in the morning, remember this. Success is inevitable because success is a habit. It's a mindset, and you can learn it. So, learn it. Thank you.